Greetings, loved ones, and welcome to my bathtub. It's a little echoey in here. It is. You're just gonna have to get used to it because this is where we need to film this video. Today, I'm going to be shaving my legs for the first time in 5 years, which is crazy to say. I can't believe I've been growing out my body hair for that long. This all started back when I decided to do No Shave November in November of 2017, and now it's November of 2022 when I'm filming this video, and I have not shaved my legs once. I haven't shaved anything, period, with a freaking razor in 5 years, okay? So today I'm going to be answering all of your questions about my body hair journey and why I'm deciding to do this today, and all of those things will be addressed in this video. Also, I have an entire playlist of body hair advice videos and lessons from my time over the years doing this. And it's not coming to an end, by the way, because I'm shaving my legs today. This is just a fun little experiment that I'm doing 5 years in. I also wanted to say thank you to everybody on Instagram who just sent me kind messages being like, you inspired me to accept my body hair as a femme-presenting person. Like, it's just so hard to find people to follow who talk about body hair and don't just remove it all. So I'm happy to be that person for you. Happy 5 years of growing out my body hair. Let's start answering questions while I trim my leg hair. I'm not in the business of clogging drains up in here, and my body hair is very long. As you can see, she's very lengthy. So I just wanted to do an electric trimming of it first, and then I'll go in, fill the bathtub with water, use shaving cream and a safety razor. And this is actually gonna be my first time using a safety razor ever because I didn't start my sustainability journey until after I started growing out my body hair. And so I just would use disposable razors back in the day. And speaking of disposable razors, if this doesn't work out for me, I'm just gonna use this one. I also have a sugar scrub to exfoliate my legs with before I use an actual razor. And then I have lotion for afterwards. Wow, I can't believe it. So while I trim, let's start with the first question, which is, will you ever shave again? I'm doing it right now. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Not me just having a line down the middle of my leg. Should I do a design? Like some cool tiger stripes or something like that? I also wanted to say that I'm going to collect all of the hair from the bathtub before I fill it with water and dispose of it, because like I said, I'm not trying to clog my drain. This is a lot of hair going on here. Next question is something I was debating with for literal months before I decided to do this. This person says, I kind of want to shave again. Is that giving into the patriarchy? LOL. So first off, let me just say I didn't start growing out my body hair because I wanted to, damn the patriarchy to hell. I started growing it out because I was just tired of doing it. I was like, why do I spend so much time doing this? Why am I giving myself such a bad razor burn every single week? And I just wanted to explore what it would be like to not do that for a while. And clearly, I loved it because I haven't fucking picked up a razor in 5 years. But let me retrace my steps. So the reason I'm filming this today and shaving my legs is because I started thinking about it like a lot. And I just remember there was this day where I was hanging out with my besties at the river, and my friend Maddie, shout out to you, Maddie, also doesn't shave. So I was telling them, I was like, oh my God, I don't know why, but I just have to say, I've been thinking about shaving my legs again. Like, is that bad? And they were like, oh my God, you haven't shaved them like even once since growing out your body hair? Sometimes I just do it randomly, like once a year, because I want to have soft legs and put on lotion and be like, ooh, that was fun. And then I grow it out again. And I was like, oh my God, no, I haven't done that. But I was thinking about this so much. I'm like, what is the reason that I want to shave again? So I would like to think that it wasn't the patriarchy and, internalized misogyny that was leading me to this decision, but just that nice conversation that I had with my friend Maddie about just trying out shaving again for the freaking hell of it. Because at the end of the day, you just have the freedom to do whatever you want to do with your body. I think that when you give into the patriarchy, it's when you allow yourself to not make decisions that you want to make because you're afraid of what people will think or what men will say or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's giving into the patriarchy. Wanting to shave your legs because you want to have them feeling soft for a few days isn't giving into the patriarchy. It's just like, well, I did that. And the next question is, do you ever feel the urge to shave just because you haven't in so long? Yeah. And I think that's really what led me to make this decision, is me just being like, damn, it's really been 5 years since I put a razor to these legs. Let's whip it out. The next question is, what positive benefits have you gotten since stopping shaving? Mental or physical? I would say the main mental benefit that I've gotten from this is just loving my body more and my body hair more. And growing it out has just taught me a level of acceptance as well as confidence, and just I've become more sure of myself through doing this. Like, it's really just given me the certainty that I can do whatever I want with my body, I guess. Physical benefits are I stopped having razor burn and like ingrown hairs and little bumps and scars on my bikini line that for years tortured me. I spent so much freaking time thinking about them, covering them up, and just being generally insecure about them, that now I'm like, thank God I don't deal with that anymore, because they completely went away. It's great. I need to replace the battery on this because it's getting a little low. So I'm gonna go find another AAA and I'll be right back. Now we're cooking with gas. It's really loud now, full power. But this next person asks, fave part of your body that you stopped shaving? My armpits. I love my hairy armpits. I'm totally gonna keep them even though I'm shaving my legs. It's just so fun. I just love having them. Also, it's a good like introductory place to grow out your body hair. So if you're worried about people seeing them or saying things about them, they can only really tell when you're like, woohoo! You know, or it's like poking out and you can see it from the side, like mine is right now. My armpit hair is currently a little bit too long for my liking, which I'll talk about in the next question, which is, does it affect deodorant? A little bit. So when I put on deodorant now, my armpit hair will like smash down a little bit like that, like it'll go full length, almost as though I'm like slicking it down with hair gel or something. But that's really the only way that it affects my deodorant, which leads me into the next question, which is, how do you stop your pits from smelling? That's my only issue with pit hair because I sweat a lot. So people really had a lot of questions about this, like specifically with growing out their armpit hair. Does it make you stinkier or sweatier, smellier, all of the S words? And no, not for me personally. I don't feel like since growing out my armpit hair, I've been any more stinky. Also, the only time I've ever had issues with me being like, whoa, my armpits stank, is when I was on hormonal birth control. And we all know how I feel about that. Or if you don't, I don't like it, okay? I'm more of a natural birth control kind of a woman. That's a topic for a separate video, but that's the only time in my life where I've ever been like, I stink. And it was just because my hormones were out of whack on it. But I talked about this in one of my last videos, but I use native plastic-free deodorant. I love them. This is not sponsored. I just think it's great for me and it helps me not smell. And having armpit hair doesn't make me sweat more either. The next question I'm really jazzed about because you're gonna get a real life example of what I mean. But this person asked, fave way to trim your armpit hair. I love keeping mine, but I hate when it gets unreasonably long. Same. Because even though I grow out my body hair, I also have preferences of how I like to keep it and keep up with it and, you know, groom it and all of those things. So get yourself an electric trimmer, okay? This one's from Schick. It used to have a razor on this end, but I have literally had this since I was 12 years old. I'm 25 now. This has lasted 13 years. And all I do is just replace the batteries. She's doing amazing, sweetie. So yes, my favorite way to trim my armpit hair is like this. I literally just comb through it like that and then just dispose of the hair. And the length that I prefer it to be is probably about like a ½ inch or something like that. And right now it's about 2 inches long. I normally do it while looking in the mirror, so I'm gonna go finish doing that and then I'm gonna come back and I'll answer the rest of the questions. What a funny video. This is what I mean for reference, by the way, of length I like. I like it to be like this, not like this. That's better. I love just having a little bit of fuzz. You know what I mean? Lift up your arms, you're like, hey fuzz, how you doing fuzz? And then sometimes when it gets a little unruly, like it was at the beginning of this video, then I'm like, whew, feeling like a spider monkey right now, you know what I mean? I don't dislike it, I just prefer a certain length. We all have preferences in this life. Now I'm gonna hoist up my other hairy leg and answer this next question, which is how to get past not feeling feminine. Amazing question to unpack here with you. I don't know who needs to hear this, but having body hair is not a masculine thing. It's a human thing, okay? Every human has body hair. Unless there's some part of your personal genetic makeup that makes you not produce body hair. But I think it's really important that we all try to unlearn the idea that a feminine person has shaved everything, and feminine means soft and silky and hairless. Like, that's not what being feminine is. My personal feminine qualities, I feel like, are shown in the ways that I care for people, the way that I care for myself, and I feel feminine when I like wear lingerie and get all dolled up for the night. I feel feminine when I'm dancing and loving on people, you know what I mean? Like, those are the times when I feel feminine. I don't feel unfeminine when I look at hair on my body. I just feel like a human being. So if you really want to get past this mindset, I would say just try to think of all of the ways that you feel feminine outside of being shaved. The next question is, does it ever bother you like getting itchy? Which is pretty much the #1 question that people asked. Everybody was like, does it itch? Is it itchy? I'm sorry, Miranda Sings just comes out to play every now and again. But I would say that there was an itchy phase when I first started growing out my leg hair, and it was just because I had been shaving my legs since I was literally like 10 years old. I'm not even kidding. And then I'm pretty sure I stopped shaving when I was 20. So 10 years of shaving and then stopping suddenly, your skin's gonna be like, okay, a little weird, and you're not used to having that feeling of like growing it out. So I'd say that everywhere I grew out my hair, there was definitely a little bit of an itch phase. I feel like I didn't really feel that way about my armpits when I grew out that hair, but it doesn't last very long and you just very quickly learn to live with it. All right, now let's get into hair down there. The next question is, how do you grow pubes out like a bad bitch, but also maintain them so they aren't so wild? This. I trim anything when it starts to feel a little unruly. And I've always done that throughout this process. Like, there's this weird misconception from body hair haters that body hair makes you unhygienic or smelly or, you know, barbaric in some way. Ooh, ooh, I'm the boogeyman. Ooga booga. But the reason why I groom is because of a lot of the questions that you guys asked, actually. So I got a lot of questions, bush-related questions, about having it while having a period or discharge or working out, you know, anything where there's some kind of moisture involved. And for all of that, I would just say trim it to the length that you want so that you don't have issues like people were sending in to me. Also, everybody is different. Your hair is going to sit differently on your body, feel differently, and look differently depending on what type of hair and what type of body you have. Like my body hair, I like when it sits flat to my body. And if it becomes pokey and it like pokes through my undies or my bikini or something like that, I'm like, all right, time for a trim. So yeah, just groom it to what feels right for your body. The next question is kind of redundant because I'm answering it by using this, but this person asked, do I trim with scissors or an electric trimmer? And if so, what kind? So I talked about this Schick one. I use it because I've just had it for so many years, but I know that there's a ton of really great trimmers on the market. I actually used to get targeted ads for them on Instagram, and sometimes I would screenshot them and be like, oh, maybe I'll try that one if this one ever stops working or something like that, but this is definitely my rec. I remember actually in preparation for this video, I watched an old body hair advice video of mine, and in it I talked about how I would trim my armpit hair with scissors. So that's probably why this person asked this question, because maybe they remembered that. But it just became so awkward to use the scissors and try to physically cut it. So this was just so much easier. This person asked, do you use any oils on your bush to soften the hair? And if so, what kind? I do not. I don't use any products down there at all. I just use warm water in my hand in the shower, the way the good Lord intended. But you could use like jojoba oil or something like that to soften it, because jojoba oil is great for hair, skin, and nails. Okay, this next question I wanted to answer because there was a big time in my life when I felt this person's frustration so hard. This person says, my bikini hair is like growing insane. It's starting to go all down my legs. Embarrassing, help. And let me just say, I relate to this. I always found it so fascinating that some people didn't shave their thighs. Did you ever have friends like that who were like, I never shave my thighs are fine. I was like, what? Because my leg hair just didn't stop. When I'm looking at my hair right now, my bikini line hair goes into the natural hair of my leg. And I feel like a lot of people's bodies would look like that and do that if you allowed your body hair to grow out. You would be like, oh, I don't just have bikini line hair that's taking over my legs. I just have hair everywhere. I don't know if I'm making sense. Basically, all I'm trying to say is that your bikini line, you can trim it however you want, groom it however you want, keep the hair, whatever you want to do. But it's not embarrassing or bad that your bikini line hair is starting to grow into your leg hair. That's a natural thing that your hair does. I say that because I've accepted that part of my life, but I feel like it takes time for other people to accept it, and I get that. And one of the biggest reasons that it takes people so much time to accept this is because of this next question. How do you acknowledge it when you catch people staring? Or what do you do when you see people notice it? So honestly, I've never really had people stare at me in public places, especially strangers. Like if I catch somebody looking or noticing the fact that I have hairy legs or am in a bathing suit with my body hair out or whatever, if I see them see it and we lock eyes, then I'll just be like, raise my eyebrows a little bit and give them a soft smile like, hey, yeah. I never say anything. I'm just like, yeah, I see you seeing it. There's not really anything to say, like you're just existing. Which leads me into my next question, which is, have you had any negative or weird encounters with people considering your body hair? Other than just men on the internet who have like a fetish for this sort of thing, I have not had outright negative or weird encounters with people. No strangers have ever said anything to me about it. And nobody in my life has ever even outright said anything to me about it that I can remember, other than, are you gonna shave for your wedding day? But all of the encounters that I remember are more seeing people notice it and seeing people like silently judge it. You know what I mean? Which I have no control over. You don't have any control over the way that people perceive you or your body or make the judgments in their head. And you just have to be like, all right, well, they're looking, so people gonna look, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna clean up this hair and then fill the bathtub, and we're gonna keep answering questions and shave. It looks like a small animal has been collected at the bottom of this tub right now. It's crazy. Should I show it to you? Is that like a crazy thing to put on the internet? I mean, this entire video could be seen as a crazy thing to put on the internet to some, but I needed to share this experience with you guys. It couldn't just be a personal thing. It needed to be a collective thing. Time for my sugar scrub while the water fills up. It's good to exfoliate before you shave because it helps with ingrowns and razor burn and stuff like that. And you know, it's been so long, I'm like, I don't know what could happen. All right, now that I'm nice and exfoliated, I'm gonna use Finley's Sensitive Skin Shaving Cream. All right. Wow, the safety razor's a sleigh. Can't believe myself. Who am I? 2022. You would have never expected this plot twist. Ooh, sheesh. I'm still a little patchy though. I need a little more practice of this. Next question. Thoughts on visible pubic hair in swimmies? I've been a hairy gal for years, but that's the one aspect I've had a hard time getting comfortable with people seeing. Ooh, I think I might have cut myself. Okay, well, I'm glad you asked this because I actually have an entire video just about this topic, wearing bathing suits with body hair. Because it's one thing to just grow it out in your day-to-day life when you're wearing clothes, but it's another thing to go to the beach. You know what, I'm gonna switch razors because I don't know how to use this safety razor and I actually cut myself pretty bad. Oops. But really what it all boils down to, since you said I have a hard time getting comfortable with people seeing, especially if you're going to a public beach or something like that, or a public pool with body hair, people are gonna see it unless you wanna wear a wetsuit or something like that, but then that defeats the whole point of getting to the place where you're comfortable with growing it out. So yeah, you just need to acknowledge, like, I have no control over what people are going to think in their heads, but you do have control over how you react if somebody were to say something to you, which is a really weird thing to do. Imagine getting the courage to go up to somebody and be like, your body hair is offending me. So if we're playing worst case scenario, that's the worst case scenario, you know, of somebody coming up to you and saying something weird like that. But that's literally never happened to me before, and I've been to plenty of public beaches, public pools, all the things. Oh, it's so nice to see my leg freckles again. I haven't really been able to see them because of my leg hair, but wow. Oh my God, also, I've never seen my calf tattoos with shaved legs. I've always had hair over them. Anyways, a little tip for people who are not comfortable with having their pubic hair show in their bikini bottoms. I really love a bathing suit short moment. I'm wearing them right now. But you can get longer ones, you can get biker short length, all that kind of good stuff. You could wear running shorts in the water if you really wanted to. But also it's like, if you're growing it out to accept your body hair, wouldn't you want to wear things that you normally would when you shaved? And that's really the question that I struggled with for a while. I guess you really just have to ask yourself, like, what place do I want to get to with my acceptance on this? Like, do I want to just grow it out for me in the privacy of my own home and not like deal with people seeing it? And so when I go to public places, like, I don't show it? Or do you want to be the person who shows it and is like, yeah, I have body hair and it's fucking cool, you know? Because I like being that person. But it's really a double-edged sword, because the next question is this. Would you feel comfortable wearing cheekier bikini bottoms with body hair? I noticed you wear more coverage and I wondered why. I also keep my body hair. That's good for you. I'm happy that you do too. So there's two reasons why I wear swim shorts a lot of the time. The first reason is because I fell in love with them when I was still shaving, and I had a lot of those issues like I was talking about earlier with having razor burn on my bikini line, and I have really fair skin so you could see it. And wearing the swim shorts covered up my razor burn a little bit. So that's when I first fell in love with them. But then also I was just like, damn, I really like the way that these fit my body, like the way that I physically look in them. Just because of the way that my body is, really, is like I have a small waist with wide hips. So I don't really like to wear low-rise bikini bottoms or anything like that because my hips go out like hourglass, you know? So that's also a reason I started wearing them. And to answer this person's question, yes, I would feel comfortable wearing a more cheeky style. I have this bathing suit that's basically like a thong bikini style, and I'll whip that one out about like once a year because it's kind of one of those bathing suits where it's just a time and a place kind of a piece. Like sometimes I don't want to show full cheek on family vacation with my in-laws, you know what I mean? But if I'm going to like the hot springs with my besties, I'll show full cheek, I don't care, full send. Now that I've gotten older, I do realize that there are, I don't know if implications is the right word, but yeah, there's implications for wearing certain things around certain people. It's like having pierced nips. Like if you're wearing a top where you can clearly see your barbell, you know that people can see it and feel them noticing it, and you can't be like, oh my God, why are they looking? It's like, it's something to look at. People are people, the simple-minded, they'll just look at anything that's out of the ordinary, right? And if you're gonna do something that goes against the status quo or whatever, like people are gonna see that. Anyways, that was a really long-winded answer, but I really wanted to include that in this video because as somebody who used to get really upset when people would notice certain things about my body and stare, I'm really just at a place in my life where I'm like, let them stare. You know, as long as you're not harming me or hurting me or like physically saying something to me that could hurt my feelings, it's just like whatever, stay in your own lane and I'll stay in mine. Just don't come over here and try to ruin my vibe. Speaking of people trying to ruin your vibe, this is a very common thing that this person asked about. They said, my family are the only people who comment on my grown out body hair. Any tips or thoughts? So I just have to say, you know, I mentioned before that I've never had anybody say anything really rude or outright to me about my body hair to my face. I mean, I've had like friends and family say things about it to me just casually, like, oh, you do that now. Not like, oh, you do that now. It's very like non-judgmental. I had a friend recently who was like, I love your golden body hair when we were at the river together, and I was like, thank you so much. But it's honestly rare that people would even compliment it because I feel like it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, oh, I silently noticed that, like I've been talking about. But it is often the outward commentary from those who love us so much that hurts the most. So let me just give you a little PSA. Okay? If you have somebody in your family who has a lot to say about your body hair, this is what you need to respond to them. Well, good thing it's on my body and not yours. And then just smile and walk away. Because seriously, like, good thing you don't have to worry about it because you're not touching me or intimate with me. Like, why is this your business suddenly? And again, easier said than done. I know that a lot of people have issues specifically with their mothers. Moms out there watching this, I'm looking at you. If your daughter decides to grow out her body hair and you're like, ugh, how unladylike and disgusting of you, that is not being a good mom. I understand that people have personal preferences, like, you know, moms, parents, whatever, being like, oh, I would never do that. And because they want to hold their children to that same standard that they adhere to, they say shit like that. And honestly, I'm so sorry for those of you watching this who have had to deal with this experience, because I'm so grateful that my parents have never said something like that to me. They're just like, whatever, she's living her life. And if this happened to me a lot and somebody in my life was like really saying a ton of stuff about my body hair, I wouldn't cut them out of my life, but I would definitely set a boundary where if they said something about it to me, to my face, I would just respond, I'm not talking about my body hair with you. We can talk about something else now. And that's all you have to say. The next question is one that I got a lot as well. This person's just said, my partner doesn't know how he would feel about it if I grew out my body hair. And they actually had a second part of this where they said, I don't want him to find me unattractive. And I've talked about this in past body hair advice videos, but isn't it so hysterical that men have been growing out their body hair for so long, yet we feel as though as women, if you identify as a woman, you need to ask them their permission to grow out yours as if they don't already do that. It's a nutty concept in itself. And I know that this person's not saying like, I need to ask his permission, but you care about this person and you're intimate with this person and you don't want them to not want to be intimate with you anymore if you choose to do this, right? So I got a lot of questions that were about that. He would know how he felt about it if you just tried it. You know, nothing has to be forever, as you can see. I've been growing out my body hair for 5 years, but now I'm shaving right now, and who knows when or if I'll shave again, but I'm just trying it out. Like, you can try out growing out your body hair for, I don't know, a couple months or something like that, and see how your partner feels about it. Because yes, while it is a weird concept to ask how they'll feel about it, because, you know, most people would just be like, do whatever you want. Some people are just not attracted to that. And I get that, honestly. I'm at a place in my life now where I'm like, I understand why some people don't want to be with a hairy woman. Like, it's not everybody's personal preference. And honestly, that's okay because it doesn't have to be. But I think that the issue comes up when someone won't allow you to do something that you really want to do. So then it's a conversation. So if you really want to do this, you need to bring it to your partner and be like, I just really want to grow out my body hair for a couple months and see how we both feel about it, and just see what he says. And that leads me to my next question about my own husband. And this person asks, what does Finley think about it? He doesn't think about it. That's literally what he said when I asked him, what do you think about my body hair? He said, I don't. And then they also asked a follow-up question of, how did you talk to him about it? And this is actually funny because my partner is the one who suggested that I should grow out my body hair, because I had expressed concern and annoyance to him at the beginning of our relationship, really, about how annoyed I was with my bikini line and my razor burn, and he was like, why don't you just grow out your body hair? And I was like, really? Okay. And then no shave November turned into no shave 5 years straight. And I did actually check in with him over those years, being like, did you expect me to like not shave for so long after you suggested that to me? And he was like, I literally could care less. And before this video, I asked him specifically, do you have any thoughts to share for people who are struggling with, you know, their partners not accepting their body hair or whatever? And he just said, people should be allowed to do what they want to do. Wow, really soft. I'm just trying to get all of the like little patches, and especially the backs of my legs are really hard to shave right now. It's just like an awkward angle, especially to film and like stay front facing while doing it. It's really awkward. I've never shaved on camera before. Next question, how to feel comfortable with head? Head. Well, I guess you could take this question that way, but this person asked, how to feel comfortable with hair in bed situations. It's not about my boyfriend, it's all in my mind. Aren't the worst things all in our mind? Ugh, it's terrible living up here, am I right? Well, to answer this question and give you some advice, since you said it's all in your head, just in your head, think, I'm gonna do everything the same as I would if I was hairless right now, but I'm just hairy. Allow your partner to love on you and do things to you that they normally would when you were shaven. I am allowed to exist in my hairy body. I'm allowed to take up space. Simple as that. You're allowed. Next question. Do you experience sensory issues like your tights rubbing against your leg hair, etc.? I guess I would if I wore tights, but I don't really wear tights. Sometimes if I'm wearing like really tight yoga pants or something like that, my leg hair will poke through. I don't know what's wrong with her.
She just wants to come in.
You just want to come in?
Come party, man. Wow.
You want to feel it?
So crazy.
I cut myself really bad on my foot, so I stopped using the safety razor.
You don't like it?
I liked it, but I cut myself here, here, and here. That was the worst one.
You gotta be super metal. You gotta be down with the cuts.
Down with the cuts? I'll try it on my next leg. I haven't even shaved my right one. I've only trimmed it. I know. That's how long it's taking.
Rue's really hoping she could join you in the bathtub.
Rue, you're wanting to be shaved?
Rue, you really want to get a little shave of your legs? You look a little funny.
Isn't this crazy? It feels so wild.
That is crazy. I'm like freaking out.
Love you.
Love you.
So I guess, yeah, I do experience some sensory issues with things rubbing against it, but it doesn't really ever bother me. But after I finish this shaving job, I am kind of curious to see how things will feel on my shaven legs in comparison to my hairy ones, like just what the sensations will be. I'm really excited to rub lotion on them, especially. This next question is, have you ever considered playing with dyeing your body hair? I have. It's a slay. No, I've never considered it, only because I never dye anything. I've never dyed my hair. I don't really use many like chemical products like dyes. Unless it was like a natural plant dye or something like that, I wouldn't do this. But I also just have no interest in dyeing it. Like, I don't really want hot pink leg hair, but I love that for you if that's what you want. While I still try to shave the back of this damn thigh, I'm gonna answer the last 2 questions, and then I'm just gonna shave my right leg off camera, and I'll show you guys the end product when I'm putting lotion on or something. But this person says, I'm dying to know how your face hair reducing oil is working. Because in one of my last videos, I was talking about this like hair reducing face oil roller that I was using on my upper lip and under my chin because I get hair there and I just don't like the texture of how it feels. Similar to when people tell me, oh, I could never grow out my leg hair. I just love the feeling of smooth legs. Like, I get it, you know? Smooth legs feel awesome. So that's how I felt about like my upper lip and chin area. I was like, God, I just hate the feeling of having little hairs there that I need to pluck or remove or whatever. So for those of you who didn't hear me talk about that, that's why this person asked this. And I would say that it's going fine. I'm not really noticing anything like that crazy. It's not like completely stopping the hair from coming in. I would say the main observation that I've had since using it for the past like 2 months or so is that I just have to pluck a little bit less, but I still pluck pretty often. So it's definitely not like life-changing or anything like that. But on this same facial hair note, this person asks, as a woman, is it okay to have facial hair and not remove it? I would like to be anonymous. Thanks. Well, lucky for you, everybody is anonymous in this video. And of course it's okay to have facial hair but not remove it. It's just all what you want to do. I actually went through a phase a couple years ago where I was refusing to pluck my eyebrows. I just didn't want to groom them anymore. I was like, whatever, let them do their thing. And then after a while, I was just like, I kind of miss the shape of having them more groomed. So then I just started doing it again. But nobody ever said anything to me about my bushy eyebrows during the time that I was growing out that facial hair. But then again, you know, facial hair on women where it's like chin hair or mustache hair is so personal. And it also really, really depends on what color it is because people feel a lot more comfortable like not removing it when it's lighter, right? And then they have a harder time accepting it when it's darker. And I'm not telling you you shouldn't accept it if you have dark hair. I'm telling you you should. Overall theme of this video, you should just do what you want to do with your hair, no matter where it is. When I see body hair on anybody, I'm like, rock on, brother. But especially when I see it on femme-presenting people, I'm like, hell yes. I love that you are accepting that part of yourself because we are so taught that we shouldn't. I just really like seeing people reclaim that side of themselves that society has taught us to hate. It's just so inspiring. I'm gonna step down off my soapbox now and shave my right leg, and then I'll get back to you. But it is daylight savings time, so the sun is going to probably set and the lighting may look different when I return to you. But I'm just gonna listen to a podcast and vibe out. I used the safety razor on this leg, and I got better at it, except for this one space around the knee. Let's put some lotion on these legs, shall we? I can't believe this, guys. Knock on wood and say a prayer for me as you're watching this. I hope I don't get goddamn razor burn. A moment of silence for my calf tattoos. They look amazing. I have been in this godforsaken bathtub for too long, okay? I gotta go take my new legs and put them in some pants, because it's actually freezing outside. It's funny that I shaved my legs for the first time during the season when most people stop shaving their legs. And also, I forgot about like the getting goosebumps while you shave, and then it's like, you feel those little pricklies again. It's crazy. What other realizations did I have while I was shaving? It takes too fucking long. I did not miss how long it takes. That's like the #1 reason to stop shaving is imagine all the free time you'll have. But no, I'm not making this to convince you guys to stop shaving because like I said earlier, the theme of this video is just do what you want with your body, okay? Shave your legs, don't shave your legs, dye it pink, trim it, cut it, wax it, grow it out, I don't care. We're all human and we're all hairy. I love you. Thanks for watching this video. I feel like it was a good one. We talked about a lot of things that I actually haven't talked about in past body hair advice videos. And if you want to see more from me, you can find me on Patreon as well as on Twitch for extra content, live streams, all of the things. But if you just like watching me here, well then just wait for the next video, okay? Stay smiling. Bye y'all.